Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode of Hurricane Warning, your place for everything Miami Hurricanes. I'm here with my boy, Miami Manny. How are you, Manny?
Good, brother. How are you?
Doing all right,
As
rough
good as
week,
we can be after that, right?
rough week for the state of Florida in terms
Yeah.
of football. Think we went 1-11. Thank God for the Dolphins. Um, the Hurricanes take a tumble in Georgia. FSU sucks. That's normal. Everybody else got beat. USF, FAU. I think I heard Braddock and Varela, even though they're not in season, they lost. Um, I think Miami School for the Blind also lost.
Yo, what
Uh,
was in the water in Florida this weekend, bro?
everybody.
They
The
did
Heat
something in the
lost
water, bro.
yesterday. The Panthers lost yesterday.
Oh, that Heat game was
Terrible.
fucking terrible, dude. Jesus. Good Lord. Spoke. Help a brother out. Help a brother out, Spoke.
Yeah, it's been rough, but um, your Miami Hurricanes um, fell in Atlanta. Um, they are now ranked ninth in the college football playoffs. They are ranked 12th in the AP poll, standing at 9-1. That's a precipitous 8-place drop in the AP poll and a 5-place drop in the college football playoff rankings. We should still be third or fourth. I think we might be fourth in the college football bracket. Um, Teams ahead of us are undefeated Oregon, one loss Ohio State, one loss Texas, one loss Penn State, undefeated Indiana and BYU, one loss Tennessee, and one loss Notre Dame, which Notre Dame shouldn't even be. I hate Notre Dame.
I
Anyway,
can't stand them. It's just the Notre Dame bias every year. They're independent, man. They should get no love. Unless they play a crazy schedule, which they haven't, they should get no love. That's just my opinion. But for some reason they're there every year. Just like there's 19 SEC teams every year too.
we did This Week in Miami yesterday, so tune in every Tuesday night for This Week in Miami. But I said that everyone was waiting for Miami to lose the game to drop them 8 spots. Miami can. I said it in jest, but it was more to speak to the bias. I'm surprised they kept us in the top 25. Um, Miami wakes up and they're unranked every single day. Notre Dame gets up, and the joke was they can play Braddock, Sunset, Varela, and they'd be ranked second in the nation.
Oh
We
yeah.
can play the entire SEC and we'll be ranked 12th. So I feel like it's the complete other side of the coin of the Hurricanes. Everyone hates the Hurricanes. Everyone loves to slurp up Notre Dame. I don't know why, but it is what it is.
Yeah, man. It's one of those things where like no matter what the year, right? You go back all the way to our it's one of our biggest rivals, right? Although we don't play every year, it's still one of our biggest rivalries. Go back to the '80s, dude. Where like Notre Dame
Catholics versus
hate,
convicts.
yeah, Notre Dame hate and like Notre Dame, let's say conflict has been going on since back in the day, bro. I don't feel like we're alone in that. I mean, there's a bunch of fan bases who can't stand Notre Dame. Um, it just is what it is, bro. I almost no, I dislike them more than I dislike the Gators, and that's saying a lot. That's
Mm.
saying a lot, man.
Mm.
That's saying a lot, bro. It's close. I'm not saying it's a
You
big
want
difference,
you want to
but
know why I dislike the Gators more?
why?
It's because the Gators refuse to come down to Miami and play. The Gators always wanted in the swamp or always
Or
wanted a
neutral?
neutral field.
Yeah,
They never want to come down. I respect Notre Dame a little bit more because they did come down in 2017 and caught an ass whooping. Um, that's why I respect FSU. Good or bad, indifferent, they come down and,
yeah,
and they'll step into the rock to play. And I respect that. I can't respect the Gators and their neutral field
yeah,
BS.
man. That thing drives me nuts, man. It drives me nuts. Or it'll be a neutral field, but it's real close to Gainesville.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, their neutral field is always Orlando. Their neutral field is always the high school football stadium in Gainesville, right next to Ben Hill Griffin. That's what they did designate as a neutral field.
Right.
Uh,
So,
you know,
but hey, whatever. That's either here or there.
yeah. So now for the game, Georgia Tech, we lost 28-23. We made it a game there at the end. Um, your thoughts on the game overall?
Just we left a lot of opportunities on the field. Going back to I believe it was second quarter. Arroyo's running pretty much right up the slot. Wide open. I mean, Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder saw this guy just wide open.
That's on the miscommunication in the corner with I forget who the receiver was, but Cam thought he was running a corner and he kind of rounded it off and sat down in that
Yeah,
zone.
and I mean, and you're gonna miss plays. Obviously, nobody's perfect, but Arroyo, I mean, was just wide open. No safety linebacker picked him up. Nothing. He literally walked into the end zone. So that's a big miss right there, man. That's a huge touchdown that could have been the difference. Those fourth down plays. It's one of those things where it's at 50-50, right? Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Um, we have a kicker, just so happens to be pretty damn good at kicking the ball. Um, I feel like we should have kicked the field goal on both of those. That's 6 points right there. I don't know if you guys are math majors, but 6 plus 3 equals 9, so that we win
I'm
that game.
terrible at math, but
You
I
know,
know that kicking field goals there gets us the win.
I have a rule, right? And that's always take the points, especially in games like that where it's a little tricky. Anything could happen. It's kind of one of those weird games for everybody. Take the points, man. Just trust your team and take the points. We're the better team overall. You let Andy kick 2 field goals. I know he's gonna hit it, and we go home, with a win. Of course, hindsight is, obviously, 2020, but at the end of the day, take the points, man. Mario's always been a coach that plays it safe. I felt like it was a little out of character for him to go for it. I know everybody in Miami wanted to go for it. I know the players wanted to go for it, but sometimes you got to play situational football, and I don't think that was the right time to go for it.
I'll tell you why you kicked the field goals there. It took Georgia Tech, I think it was 17 plays to score their first touchdown.
Yeah.
17 plays. If you kick points, if you kick the field goals and take the points, that's putting pressure on their offense.
Yep.
Because now you're chasing points as opposed to trying to keep our offense off the field. Um, you're forcing them to almost play perfect. You're forcing them to maybe not be comfortable taking 17 plays to score a touchdown. It may cause them to change their play calling, helping our defense out. I think they were on the field. I think their time of possession was over 30 minutes by with our defense on the field. I don't care how many guys you have rotating in and out. You're not going to be able to. Their time of possession was 34 minutes as opposed to 25. There's no way that you can keep your pass rush fresh for 34 minutes, knowing how banged up our secondary is. It's just it's playing into the Georgia Tech's hands as opposed to playing to your strengths.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of to piggyback off of that, um, one of our biggest, I would say, mishaps, and this has happened all year, right, is and kind of and again one of those kind of take the good with the bad, right? But Cam just overextends too much sometimes, where I feel like sometimes you got to check it down, brother. Check it down or throw it away. Sometimes you got to live to fight another down. And yeah, I get it. Sometimes, hey, it's worked out, man, and we've gotten huge plays off of it. We've gotten touchdowns. I get it, but sometimes you got to just check the ball down. Arroyo was wide open. He probably could have got the first down and just walked out of bounds. There was a corner right behind him, but that pass is gonna get there no problem. Or just throw it away, throw it over him, live another down. You know what I'm saying? We still had was that first down or was that second down
Which one?
on that fumble that Royal
It
was wide
was
open?
it was second down.
So we still had another down, and honestly, that's probably four down territory regardless at that point, right? Because we're losing anyway, right? And
You're talking about the
the clock's
on that
ticking.
final drive, right?
Yeah, on the final drive, it's four down territory anyway, right? I mean, at the end of the day, a field goal doesn't tie that. So, we're going four downs the whole way. So
Hmm.
shrink the field, right? Instead of making it, second and 10, whatever, shrink the field, make it a third and four, a 4-2 if you can't get the first. That way you can give yourself options, We're the number one offense in the nation. There's no reason, no way in
We
hell we
weren't
can't
that
get.
day.
Yeah, we weren't that day, but there's no way in hell we can't get 1, 2, 3 yards. You know what I'm saying? Um, the run game suffered big time, which we expected, and we said on the show, Georgia Tech's rush defense very solid. We expected that.
Yeah, but
Um,
that's I understand. Georgia Tech's run defense is very, very stout. 88 yards is unacceptable. With
Unacceptable.
the offensive line you have, which is supposed to be one of the best offensive lines in college football, with the physical running backs you have, Damian Martinez, Fletcher, Allen. I mean, what's
You know,
I forget his name, Lyle.
yeah,
Lyle's not physical. The other three are. Lyle's more of a burner, a speedster. The other three are, and I think 88 yards is completely unacceptable. For a unit that's supposed to be the strength of this football team. And all you heard was Mario. Oh, the offensive line. Mirabal. Oh, the offensive line. And I've said it on the shows weeks past. I have yet to see the offensive line take over a game.
yeah, definitely. We've seen it for quarters, we've seen it for halves, but we haven't seen them put a whole game together where they've been dominant from beginning to end against a quality opponent. Someone maybe lower tiered. They've maybe put three quarters, and even at that,
Like Ball
um,
State.
yeah, and even at that, Ball State had times, where, and like I said, look, it's football, man. Every play is not going to go your way. It's finding ways to win against adversity. Um, you know, of course, football 101, right? But if we want to beat those teams, especially those teams that are a little bit more talented than us, the Georgias of the world, you know, we're going to have to play almost mistake-free football, and the offense needs to play better. When we can't always hit the 30, 40-year bomb. We might have to hit a 10-yard slant to set up, maybe a stretch play to the right to then kick it back to a play action. I feel like we have no rhythm almost. It's almost like if we don't get that high play, if we don't hit for two or three big 25-yard plays, our offense is kind of stuck in the mud.
So the one thing that I do think works for this team is those slants. Um, they work. What I would it would be too soon if I never saw this play again. Is those darn wide receiver screens? They are just they're you're not teaching the wide receivers blocking enough to make those plays effective. In the NFL, you can run those plays. And one of the teams that I saw run those plays a lot was the Pittsburgh Steelers. Except the Pittsburgh Steelers would run it with Plexico Barris catching the ball. And who did they have out blocking? Hines Ward, one of the best blocking wide receivers in the history of the NFL. If you're going to run those plays, you have to teach those strengths because right now they're getting blown up. And what is it? Second and 12 is hard to come back from.
Yeah, man. Honestly, Shannon's the pro here, right? But I think maybe the wide receiver screen calls are just not the right time sometimes. There are times where it could be open, but blocking isn't there. Arroyo is pretty late on most of those blocks too, at least from what I've seen over the last 8 games or whatnot. Um,
Or if you're going to run them, run tunnel screens where the offensive line can really go out there and kind of start blocking on that second level.
I mean, hey man, why don't we run a halfback screen too? Like I feel like
A
we're not
lost
mixing
art.
in. Right, yeah, like it's a lost art, even tight end screens, right? Like mix it up, man. Hit them up from different angles. I feel like almost the same screen every time, where it's almost like that looping one on the left hand side, and it's like there's different screens we can run. We have a lot of speed. Move it around the field If we move it around the field, it's going to create mismatches on defense. It's going to create holes for everybody else to go through. Cam can find anybody. You give Cam 3-4 seconds, he could tear up almost anybody. It's just we can't always go for the 45-yard bomb, guys.
Yeah. Something that was very troublesome on that day too is the Hurricanes were 3 of 10 on third down. That you can't have that as an offense. And then on top of that, you went 1 of 4 on fourth down. If you're gonna go for it on fourth down, you have to call your best plays.
I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like that's my other beef, right? Where it's like I don't feel like we have those 5, 6, let's say even 10 plays where you're like,
Money plays.
running or passing plays, right? If shit hits the fan, these are the plays that I know that we're successful with, that we
No matter
run.
what the
That
situation is.
no matter what the situation, our team knows how to run these, and we execute no matter what. Everybody has plays like that. Everybody has them. So why don't we have them, and why don't we use them? Because I don't see them. I feel like every time it's almost like a guessing game, and who knows? Maybe they audible out of it. Maybe it's something that they change at the line. It's possible, but you're gonna tell me we're number one offense in the nation, and we don't
And we
have
don't have
one,
any go-to
and
plays.
we don't have any go-to plays. Again, that tells me we're just relying on the deep ball, which has been there for us. But when teams take that away and they sit 3, 4 guys back there, what are we gonna do to move this ball? If they're stopping the run and they're playing us deep, what are we gonna really do here?
So that's the thing. The linebackers for Georgia Tech stout on the run, and they were playing two high safeties the entire time.
The entire day.
The middle of that field was there for the taking.
Of course it was. That's the whole play. Arroyo was wide open on that exact middle play.
Right.
So, and he wasn't
There's
the only one. And he wasn't the only one.
there's no one. That offensive line protection was terrible the whole game. But there aren't any in cuts. There aren't any middle, like there's nothing in the middle of the field right now. Everything is towards the outside, and everything is Cam Ward pick a side and attack that side. The biggest example that I can give you was that touchdown to Restrepo, where Cam against the grain because he turned back left and threw that pass. Unless, like, I feel like we're cutting one half of the field for Cam to attack.
We're not using the whole field. Right.
But I understand why. It goes back to the point you made earlier. He holds onto the ball too long, and he tries to create and hold and hold and hold, and then he ends up throwing across his body. And I mean, it's not often, but usually it's thrown across his body and somebody finds a pick.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know what the solution is.
It's one of those things where, and that's why I keep saying, right? Like you kind of have to take good with the bad, right? We could sit here and nitpick certain plays. We could sit here and probably burn 3, 4 hours going through all the good plays that Cam Moore does and all the extensions that he's made and touchdowns that he's gotten off of the same exact looking plays. So it's one of those things. You're not gonna make 100% of the shots you don't take, right? So it's just sometimes I'm like, dude, why would you throw across your body? He's done that across the body throw twice this year.
Three times.
Three times where I'm like, hey man, like you shouldn't be doing that. Come on.
2 picks and an incompletion.
Yeah, and I believe was one of them one went for 6 or almost went for 6. I think almost went for 6 and they had got him. But
One was in Florida. That one didn't go for 6. The other one was Duke. I don't remember if it went for 6. And he had one against Cal. And I think the one at Cal went for 6.
Yeah.
So he's done it 4 times.
So, and that's football 101. You're taught day one as a quarterback, right? It's just as much as I do. You don't throw across your body, bro. No situation ever pleads for that. Even if they're wide open, think twice. Because that ball's going to take forever and a half to get there. So, like, no matter how strong your arm is, man. No matter how strong your arm is. And those guys are athletes out there. They could all run, haul ass. They're all ball hogs, man. So, like I said, I think Georgia Tech had the perfect game plan for us. Their head coach put in some calls to your boy, White Mike Norvell. He put in some calls around. He got the real nice scouting report, and he put one hell of a game plan together. We almost overcame it, but we shot ourselves in the foot too many times, man. And it was one of those weeks where it finally caught up to us. It
You,
finally caught up to us.
you know who Georgia Tech reminds me of? Like a team coached by Man Campbell, a team coached by, um, those old school tough. Like Georgia Tech is tough, physical, bro. Like that's what I think they're so dangerous. Look, they beat up FSU. They did the same thing they did to FSU. They did to us, and that's too well. I mean, FSU sucks this year, but at the time that
We
was
didn't
a
know
big
that at the time, right?
right. And now is another big win. So they have the expectation and the culture of that toughness, and I think it's what Miami struggled with in this game. What do you attribute that to?
I, their coach, man, their head coach. He hasn't. He's been there for a while. If I'm not mistaken. He comes from good roots, a good coaching tree. Um, Georgia Tech is always a team that plays us tough, no matter really what their record is. A lot of people
Yeah, the
like to
triple
throw.
option used to kill us.
Yeah, man. A lot of people like to throw a lot of shade to the ACC, that we're not that good or whatnot. But I mean, honestly, you could play anybody in the ACC and you might lose that game. You know what I'm saying? Say what you like, but it is the truth. Are we SEC level? No, obviously not. I don't think so. I think we are a little, just a step under them, but we're not as far as everybody thinks we are. Georgia Tech is a solid ass team, and they could beat a lot of people, man. Um, their system just so happens to work very well against us. Like I said, that dual threat quarterback always kills us. Always kills us and never
Yeah,
fails.
Haynes King 93 yards. I think it was 36 passing yards.
Unacceptable. And I believe I mentioned on this show we should probably keep a spy on him at all times. It doesn't matter who's quarterback; that's their system. Keep a spy on there at all times, right?
And the fact that they were playing, we want to throw the football, bring in the throwing quarterback. We want to run the football, bring in Haynes King. I forget the guy's name. Fipo. No disrespect to the kid. He played great. His name was Philo. Aaron Philo. If he's in there, play the pass. If Haynes King is in there, he's not throwing the ball.
Yeah.
And I don't
And
understand how
you
we
know, and
see this and they can't.
and in reality, I don't even think they had 100 yards passing. I think it was just
99.
they had 99 yards passing.
99.
They throw it like right under 20. I'll say maybe right under 20 attempts.
11 for 16.
Come on, man. So like they didn't kill us on the passing. They killed us on the option, on the RPOs, and when we decided to bite real heavy on those,
271 rush yards
right,
against us.
and that's what it tells you. And a big chunk of that was King. I believe he was their leading rusher. You know, the other running back kid, I believe was Jamal Haynes. That kid blew us up every time we touched the ball. I felt like it was a 30-yard game. So, you know,
On that was it the first touchdown? I think it was the first touchdown. Um, our I forgot who came up I forgot who came up to try to hit him. His ankles might still be on that field.
yeah, bro,
Uh,
they're on a lost and found poster for sure.
huh?
They're on a lost and found poster for sure on the back of a milk carton
He
because
made a jump cut, and those ankles just they said no, sir.
he was gone, man.
Yeah, they jump, and I mean it's frustrating to see our linebackers. They're not running inside. Everything's to the edge. The only people running inside is Haynes King and maybe Jamal Haynes, but everybody else is to the outside. Like I feel like the edge just is one place you shouldn't. Miami shouldn't be beat to the edge. Like you recruit athletes. No way you should be getting beat to the edge. If you're getting run over, that's one thing, but you shouldn't get beat to the edge. I don't know if it's the coaching staff. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that.
You know, I don't want to overreact either. You know, um, our defense has been sus all year. You know, that's not something new. That's not something that just happened this week. Our defense has been sus all year. There's times where they've showed up, you know, but our offense has bailed us out of a majority of the games this year. This game, they couldn't bail us out. They didn't do enough to bail us out.
But do you think that getting beat to the edge was a game plan thing, or do you think getting beat to the edge was just we don't have the players?
I think it was more of their game plan, and unfortunately, our defense was just wasn't ready for it. I think it was a mixture of Haynes King killing us up the middle with his running, and then just kind of mixing it up and bouncing offside where we're probably playing the inside a lot more, and they just called the right play at the right time and ding, kudos to Georgia Tech. They played a hell of a game. They executed those plays, and we didn't execute on defense in order to stop them. Um, Something we have to correct. But again, our defense has had problems all year, especially letting up the big play. Right, we're one of those bend don't break, but when we do break, it's always like a 50-yard, 60-yard play. You know, um, we got to minimize that, especially against those teams. If we make the playoffs, that's something we have to minimize. These teams are way better than the ones that we're playing right now. So
Yeah, we have a bye week this week, and then Wake Forest at home on the 23rd, and we also have Syracuse.
Syracuse right after, yes sir.
Is Syracuse in the Carrier Dome? Well, what used to be the Carrier Dome.
Ah, man, I want to say they are.
Yes. It's up in Syracuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that'll be Thanksgiving weekend.
Hopefully, a good Thanksgiving gift right there.
Yeah, I mean that should if we win out, we're definitely in the ACC
Championship.
if
Yeah,
I'm not mistaken. Let me just verify.
yeah. SMU's still undefeated, and Clemson has 2 losses, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm gonna verify that right now.
Could be
But
wrong.
everything I've heard is that we control our own destiny.
Yeah.
SMU, I think, also has two conference games left. Let's see here. Standings. ACC. So SMU is 5-0 in the conference. Clemson is 6-1. Miami 6-1. Clemson, if I'm not mistaken, is done for the conference. No, that doesn't make any sense.
SMU still has 3 conference games left. They have Boston College, they have Virginia, and they have.
Clemson has Pitt this week.
Yeah.
Clemson has 1 loss. The Hurricanes have 1 loss, and SMU is undefeated. I think the tiebreaker is common opponents. Louisville. We beat Louisville. Clemson's loss is to Louisville. We don't play Pitt. Let me see their schedule.
Man, if Pitt could do us a favor, because Pitt screwed us over years ago.
Yeah.
If they could do us a favor, that'd be nice.
We both beat Virginia Tech. We both beat FSU. They lost to Louisville. We beat Louisville. So if we end up with the same record, we go over Clemson.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, if Clemson loses to Pitt, it's definitely over. But right now,
SMU's offense worries the hell out of me, man. They could drop 50 on us in a heartbeat. They play the exact offense that gives us problems, man. And Red Lashley knows us. Red Lashley knows us.
So they have Boston College. They have Virginia. And they end at Cal. God, I'd be interested to see that Cal
game. That
game.
Virginia game might be really good because Virginia just beat somebody this week, right?
I'm not sure, but listen, Boston College is pretty good too.
Yeah, they're well coached.
Yeah, let's see, Virginia. They beat Pitt.
Oh, there you go. They knocked out undefeated Pitt. That's what it was. So
no, 1 loss Pitt.
So yeah,
SMU beat Pitt.
you're right. You're right. Sorry about that. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, SMU beat Pitt.
Yeah,
And then they beat. They got. I mean, Virginia has Notre Dame this week. They
yeah.
they can do us a big favor too.
I mean, Virginia played Louisville tough. They played Clemson tough as well. Um,
Listen, they play Notre Dame, SMU. They beat Pitt. Is Virginia the team that broke the historic streak in the Orange Bowl going to finally do us a favor?
hey, listen, Pitt and Virginia owe us a few things, so it would be nice if they could help us out here. If Boston College wants to throw in their 2 cents and beat SMU, that'd be wonderful. Um, but like you said, man, we control our own destiny. We got to just worry about who's in front of us and just go out and win. That's it. Like Al Davis said, just win, baby, win.
Yeah. So this week we have uh, a couple of games to watch. We have Clemson at Pitt, BC at SMU, Virginia at Notre Dame. But some of the big games are 22 LSU in the swamp. And number 7 Tennessee plays number 12 Georgia. Um, Georgia can do us a favor and beat Tennessee.
I feel like that game is no matter who it is, they're gonna put them ahead of us. If let's say Georgia loses, they might still find a way to try to get Georgia in. Tennessee loses.
See,
Oh, well, they
so
lost
here's
to
the
Georgia.
thing. We control our own playoff destiny. No matter what, the ACC champion is going to have one of the top 4 seats.
So you
No
better go
matter
out and
what.
win it.
Huh?
I said we better go out and win it then.
Right. And I'm not saying it's us. I'm saying the ACC champion is going to have a top 4 seed. They're going to get a bye in the first round because you'd have the Big Ten,
Right.
the SEC, Big Ten, the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12. Right? Those would be the 4 conference champions, and then you have an undefeated Boise State team that, unless they can get into the top 12, would be 12.
Yeah, and that
So,
would be an interesting team to see too.
well, if you're 4, you'd face the winner of that 5-12 matchup. I believe. That's how it goes. But yeah, we can definitely. It doesn't matter where we're ranked. As long as we win the ACC, we should have a top 4 seed, guaranteed.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And honestly, like the mission is always this, right? You got to win the ACC first, right? No
But we
matter what
haven't done that
happens,
yet.
that's the mission. We don't have an ACC chip, so let's go out and get one. Perfect opportunity. Let's ride that momentum and see if we could take that into the playoffs and make some noise. At the end of the day, we're in the playoffs, and every game is 0-0. No matter what our schedule or what happened this year, and no matter how close whatever games were, it doesn't matter. It's 0-0. Line that shit up, and let's go ball.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, this is kind of what you play for, right? This
Right.
is what you wanted. You want a chance at Ohio State. You want a chance at Georgia. You want a chance at these teams so that you can prove that you belong in these conversations. Now, we may be a year or 2 away, but announcing our presence as belonging in the conversation is just as important as beating these teams, because beating these teams will get there, but it's important to establish yourself as belonging before you can blow it up.
Yeah, man, I agree with that. We're definitely making it known that I don't want to say that word, yet until we win a chip.
That we're
But
back.
yeah, I'm not saying that until we win a chip. Absolutely not. But the fact that we've been able to put in some recruiting classes together, the fact that you see the change in the product on the field, you see the players, you see, the talent level and the difference between one coach to the other. Um, it's looking promising, brother. It's looking promising.
We're
So
trending in the right direction, definitely.
a Heisman candidate, it shows right here. A Heisman candidate like that, what it could do to your program and what it could catapult you, and what it could do for your team. Because when he's on the field, everybody believes in him. That man gives it's like I don't know, in 2K or something. Like you get that +5 in 3-point shooting. Everybody gets that +5.
And
You know,
listen, next year when Lagway is our starting quarterback, who knows? We may have another Heisman candidate as
that's
well.
why they kept Billy, bro. I don't think he's leaving. That's why they kept Billy, man.
Huh?
I said that's why they kept Napier, because they didn't want him to leave.
All
They know they would have lost half their guys. He would have been there to pluck whoever's left.
right. Well, Manny, where can they find you on Instagram?
Instagram, Manolo_19. Um, we're here every Wednesday, boys and girls. Tune in to the Hurricane Warning podcast, Kennel Sports Network. Tons of shows, tons of fun stuff for you guys to watch and interact with, man. Keep an eye out for us.
Absolutely. And remember, keep an eye out for those pre games, those post games. Um, you know, we're every Monday for the Dolphins, every Wednesday for Hurricane Warning. If you want a recap of the week, it's on Tuesdays. The season wrap up for False Nine is this Thursday. And then, onwards and forwards. Anything else before we head out of here?
You know what, man? Hurricane Nation, be safe out there, man. There's a bunch of crazy people out there. You know, everybody stay focused on what you got to do, and God bless you guys, all right?
Peace.
Peace.